Welcome to my channel. In this ASP.NET Core tutorial, we will see how to create dynamic select list. In this video, we are creating two select lists. In the first select list, the countries will be loaded, and in the second select list, the cities of the selected country will be loaded on the change event of the country select list. Let's see the demo of the application which we are going to create. This is the application to maintain the customer database. We will create the customer creation screen and customers listing screen in this application. Let us see this in action. I am going to click the customer menu followed by create new. In this screen, notice when you select the country India, the cities of the India are loaded in the city select list. We will create our first customer as Arun Kumar. He is my friend and he lives in the Texas, USA. Notice when I select the country USA, the cities of the USA are loaded in the city select list. Create an other customer. His name is Santosh Matthew. He lives in India, Bangalore. Notice again when I select the country India, the cities of the India are loaded. Let's enter his email ID and save this. Let us create this application from the scratch. Before I start, I would appreciate if you would like and subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified for all of the new videos that I will be posting. I am taking lot of efforts and spending lot of time to make all these videos. In return, I request you to subscribe to this channel. So please subscribe and share this video. Thank you. Okay, let's continue the video now.
Start Visual Studio 2022 and click Create a new project. In here, select ASP.NET Core Web Application in the MVC pattern and click Next. Give the application name as Dynamic Select CRUD and save this application in the C drive/Dynamic Select CRUD folder. Then click Next. In here, select .NET 6.0 and leave the authentication type to none. Then click the Create button and wait for the scaffolding task to complete. Now the application is created. Let's build and run it. Let's click the Home menu and Privacy menu. Yes, the application is working fine. Let's add the features. First and foremost, we will create the country model. Right-click the model folder, and then add new item, and name it as country.cs because this model will be referenced by the city and the customer model. Off the screen, I have created two properties in the country model. First property name is ID, and it is of type integer, and it is the primary key of the table. Then second property name is country name. This property will allow up to 75 characters, and it is a required field. Notice that I have moved the system.component model.data annotations library to the global using section of the program.cs file. Then, disable the nullable warnings from the project properties window. Notice, now the warning indicator line has disappeared from the country name property. Next we will create the city model. Right-click the model folder, and then add new item, and name it as city.cs. I have added the properties to the city model off the recording. City model has four properties. First property name is ID, and it is the primary key of the table. The second property is named as city name. It can accept up to 75 characters. Since we set the max length of 75. The third property is country ID. Notice, we have added the foreign key attribute to this property with country as the parent table. EF Core will create a relationship with the primary key of the country table to this property. The next property is the country. Country is a virtual property. Next we will create the customer model. Right-click the model folder, and then add new item, and name it as customer.cs. This is our main model of the project. Off the recording, I have added all the properties to the customer model. The first property is ID. This will be the primary key of the customer model. Then first name and last name, properties, can have up to 75 characters each. Email ID property can have up to 100 characters, and it has a data type validation attribute, which will throw an error if the user enters invalid email string. Next property is country ID. We have added the foreign key attribute to this property with country as the parent table, and we have also added display name attribute to display as country in the UI screen, instead of country ID. Then next property is city ID. We have added the foreign key attribute to this property as well. And we have also added display name attribute to display as city in the UI screen instead of city ID. Then we will install the F-Core to our project now. Go to the NuGet Package Manager and select NuGet Package Manager for Solutions. And in here click the Browse tab. And then enter F-Core CQL Server in the search box. And press the Enter key. Then select the first search result, which is Microsoft.EntityFramework.Core.CQL Server. And select the latest version of the 6.0, because we are doing our project for ASP.NET Core 6. In case if you are doing for 7, then select 7.0. After that click the Install button. Click OK in the Preview Changes dialog box. Click I accept in the License Acceptance dialog box. Now the installation of Entity Framework Core is completed. Then, now we will create the DB context file. First, create a new folder and name it as data. Inside this, we will create and save the DB context file. For our application, create a new class file and name it as appdbcontext and click Add. Then include the Microsoft.Entity Framework Core library in the global using section of the program.cs file. After that, inherit the appdbcontext class from dbcontext base class, and then add the constructor method. The constructor method must have dbcontext options parameter named as options. This parameter will be passed to the base class. Later we will provide the value for this parameter in the program.cs file. I have added the DB set property for the models of types customer, country, and city, named as customers, countries, and cities, respectively. These DB set properties will become the tables in the database. Then I also included the models and data namespace in the global using section of the program.cs file. Then in here, add the builder.services.addDBContext with the type as appdbcontext. Then add the connection string for the SQL server. I am using my local standalone SQL server. You can put the connection string respective to your environment. Then go to the NuGet Package Manager and select Package Manager for Solutions. Then in here click the Browse tab and after that search for Entity Framework Core Tools. This library is very much required to do. Add and remove migrations. Select the latest version of the 6.0, because we are doing our project for ASP.NET Core 6. In case if you are doing for 7, then select 7.0. After that click the Install button. Click OK in the Preview Changes dialog box. And then click I accept in the License Acceptance dialog box. Now the Entity Framework Core Tools library installation is done. Then, go to the NuGet Package Manager console window. And in here, type the add migration space create DB in the quotes. And press the Enter key to generate the migration scripts. Then open the Create DB migration script from the Migration folder. And in here change all the occurrences of the word cascade to restrict as shown in the video. This is a very important step. So please do it carefully. Otherwise the backend tables will not get created properly. Then go back to the Package Manager console window. And in here, call the update database command to create the tables in the backend database. And wait for the command execution to complete. I have opened the SQL Server Management Studio and inserted 3 countries in the country table: India, UAE and USA. Then I have also inserted the cities with their respective country IDs in the cities table. Now we will create the views for our application. Views are the user interface screens of the MVC ASP.NET Core application. First we will create the list view. This view file is to list all the customers of our application. Right-click the Home folder and click Add and click View. Then select Razor View and click Add. Then give the view name as List. Then select the template as List. Then select the model class as Customers. And then select the data context class as AppDB Context. And click the Add button. And then wait for the scaffolding task to complete. Now our list.cshtml is scaffolded successfully. Let's see the scaffolded list.cshtml file. It is binded with IE numberable of customer model. After that, open the homecontroller.cs file. Cut all the using section codes. And move them to the program.cs file. Then change the scope to global as shown. Then go back to the home controller and delete the iLogger variable. And then add a private read-only variable named as _context of type AppDB context. Then in the constructor method of the home controller, add a parameter named context of type AppDB context. This parameter will be passed by dependency injection in the runtime. After that, assign context parameter value to our private read-only variable named _context. Then, I have added a controller action method named list. This list action method will retrieve the list of customers from the database and will pass the customers list to the list view. Open the _layouts.cs HTML partial view file. Then add a list item. In the added list item, set ASP-controller equals to home, and ASP-action equals to list, and the link text to customers. On clicking this link, our list action of home controller will be called. Let's check it. So build and run the application. And then click the customers link. Our customer list is loaded, but the list is empty, because we have not created any customers yet. Click the create new link. Oh, it gives us an error, saying this localhost page can't be found. This is because we have not yet created the create action method in the home controller. So let's create the create action method in the home controller. Before creating the create action method, we need to create the get countries method. This method is private, and the purpose of this method to retrieve all the countries from the database and make it as SelectList items collection. Then next we need to create getCities method. This method will retrieve all the cities by the selected country. After that, I have created the create action method. One with the HTTP get verb, and the other with HTTP post verb. Next, let's scaffold the view file for the create action method. To do this, right-click the create action method, and then click add view, and then select razor view, and then click add, and in here, select the template as create. After that, select the model class as customer, then select the data context class as appdb context. Click add, and wait for scaffolding task to complete. Now the create.cs HTML view file is successfully created. Let's have a look at the view file. Notice, the scaffolding task has created two SelectList items, one for the country ID and the other for the city ID. The important point to note here is viewBag.countryID and viewBag.cityID. These two are the bags which will have the data source for the SelectLists, but so far, we have not written any AJAX code to fill these bags dynamically. So if we run this application now, the SelectLists will have the default values. Let's run and check it. Because I love to do R&D. I mean researches and developments. Now let's click the Customers menu, followed by the Create New link. See, as I told you, both the lists are having the default values. Even if we change the country, the cities are not getting changed to the selected country. Before doing the AJAX part, let's give the ID to the country select list and city select list. After that, go to the Solution Explorer and then open the homecontroller.cs file. And in here create a method named getCitiesByCountry. Notice, this method returns the JSON result. Because AJAX is JavaScript extension, so we should return the value in the data types, which JavaScript can understand. This method looks very simple. It just calls the getCities method and converts the return type to JSON format. Okay, that's it with the controller. Next we need to open the site.js file. Here we are going to write the AJAX method. Off the recording, I have written the fill cities function. This is very important function, and it uses the getJSON AJAX method to call the getCitiesByCountry action method from the home controller. This function accepts two parameters. The first parameter is the country select list control, and the second parameter is the ID of the city select list control. First it gets the ID of the currently selected country. After that it checks is the ID is null. If it is not null, then it does the AJAX call using the getJSON AJAX method. Then it fills the resulted JSON to the city select list. Okay, we are done with the site.js file. Now, open the create.cshtml file from the home folder, which is inside the views folder. In here, call the fill cities method in the onChange event of the country select list. That's it. Let's run the application to check the output. Then, let's click the create new link. Then let's select the country, UAE. Notice all the cities of UAE are loaded in the city select list. Then, let's select the country USA. Notice all the cities of USA are loaded in the city select list control. So our AJAX codes are working fine. Let's create our first customer. Let's enter first name as Anis and last name as Mohammed. And then let's enter the email ID as anis@anis.com. Then we will select the country as India and city as Chennai. After that, let's press the create button to save the record. Perfect. It got saved successfully. Let's create one more record. Let's enter first name as Arun and last name as Kumar. He is my friend, and he lives in Texas, USA. Then, let's press the create button to save the record. Perfect. This record also got saved successfully. So let's do the edit, details and delete action methods now. To do the edit action method, first stop the application. Open the homecontroller.cs file. In here, add a private method named getCustomer. This method will retrieve the requested customer from the database and return to the calling method. Then create the HTTP GET edit action method. This method is slightly different from the create action method, so please note it down. First we are retrieving the customer by calling getCustomer method. After that we call the getCountries method and set it to the viewBag.country ID. And then we call the getCities method and set it to the viewBag.city ID. After that, create the HTTP post edit action method. This method is very similar to the create action method. There, we add the customer to the context. Here, we attach the customer to the context and change the state of the entity to entity_state.modified. Then after, we save and redirect the program flow to the list action method. Next we need to create the view file for edit action method. So expand the views folder and then expand the home folder. Then copy the create.cshtml and paste it in the same location. Then rename the pasted file to edit.cshtml. Then open the edit.cshtml. And then add the hidden input element for the ID property. Then change the form's ASP-action to edit. And then change the value property of the submit button also to edit. Then build and run the application. Let's click the edit link of one customer. The record is opened properly in the edit screen. And importantly, the country and city is set properly. Let's try to change the country. Perfect. The cities of the selected country is populated in the city select list on changing the country select list value. So our AJAX method is working fine in the edit screen also. Let's select the city as Delhi. And we'll press the edit button. Wow, the record is saved properly. So all code related to edit module are also working fine. Next we will do the details module. Details module is slightly different from the edit module. Open the home controller.cs. In the home controller, add two private methods named get country name and get city name. Then copy the HTTP get edit method and paste it above. Then, change the name of the pasted edit method to details. After that, change the variable viewbag.countryID to viewbag.countryname and set it to get country name of customer.countryID. And then change the variable viewbag.cityID to viewbag.cityname and set it to get city name of customer.cityID. Then now, go to the Views folder and expand the Home folder and copy the edit.cs HTML and paste it below. And then rename the pasted file to details.cs HTML. Then open the details.cs HTML and delete both the country and city select lists. Then add a hidden input element for country ID and set the tag helper ASP-4 equals to country ID. And then add a input element of type text and set the value to viewbag.countryname. And add the style class attribute to form-control. Then do the same steps for the city control also. After that, delete the submit button, because details form must not post the data. Okay, we are done. Let's build and run the application. After that, click the details link for any customer. Perfect. The customer data is loaded in the details screen. Next, let's do the delete action. Open the home controller.cs file. Copy the details method and paste it below. Then, rename the pasted method name to delete. After that, copy the HTTP post edit action method and paste it below the HTTP get delete action method. Then, rename the pasted method name to delete. After that, change the entity state of customer to entity state.deleted in the HTTP post delete action method. Now, go to the Views folder, and from there, select and expand Home folder. In here, copy the details.cs HTML and paste it in the same folder. Then, rename the pasted file name to delete.cs HTML. After that, open the delete.cs HTML and change the ASP-action to delete. Then, add the submit button to the bottom of the form. Okay. That's it. We are done. Let's build and run the application. Now, click the delete link. Then, in here, click the delete button. Perfect. The record got deleted. So we have seen all the CRUD operations using the dynamic select list.
With this, I am completing this video. Before I sign off, I request you to subscribe and share this video. I would appreciate if you would like and subscribe to this channel. so that you will be notified for all of the new videos that I will be posting. Thank you and bye for now.